Hi, I'm Toby Drummond and this is ACM. I have been a tutor at the ACM for 11 years. Yeah, my role at ACM varies. When I first came on board, it was as a DEP, ironically, for Mike Sturgis. Mike was head of drums and I came on board at that particular time. And that was teaching degree, higher diploma and diploma. I now teach cross-discipline lectures at the ACM, industry-related cross-discipline lectures, as well as all the drum sort of departments of still degree and diploma. At one time I had a mentoring role here as well. Just been immersed in kind of everything ACM for about 11 years. My uncle was a drummer, that's the reason I got into it. He was a drummer in the 60s, a band called The Herd and Peter Frampton. That's how I fell into it. I started at a young age, so I went on the cruise ships when I was about 17. In the main orchestras on board, I learned to read at a very early age. And reading for me was the key for being able to just play in any environment. So ships at 17, back in cabarets, working with artists on board, and that led to me then going and touring with different artists that I'd worked with on those kind of ships and stuff. I had no direction, so I kind of just wanted to play. So I then was doing pop stuff, and my first kind of major pop gig was with the Seahorses when I got asked to take over in the Seahorses, which is probably alongside theatre stuff in '97. And then that led to working with Shaun Ryder, Russell Watson, all sorts of other pop gigs. And I drifted then into doing some depping on some pop shows, the Rocky Horror Show. At the time that was David Tench, of all people. David Tench is the MD on The Voice, who you'll see there. And then I kind of was sort of doing a lot of theatre and a lot of pop stuff. And I had a few of my own chairs in the West End and a few of my own chairs on tour. And then I predominantly now just sort of do the West End, so I don't have to do heavy amount of touring anymore. And recently I was doing the Cliff Richard stuff, working with Cliff Richard, recording with him for a friend of mine. Pete May is the drummer on that, and that again was a depth for me, so I still do sort of artist work, Celia Imrie, Cliff Richard, mixed in with sort of theatre stuff. My proudest achievement was Pete May has been the drummer for Cliff Richard for 30 years. He was unable to do some recording, some TVs, and a whole load of sort of bits and bobs with Cliff, so he passed that my way. And I was chuffed because, as cheesy as the gig is, it was really nice sort of high-end work to be doing, live radios and recording with Cliff. I think that of recent would be kind of a highlight, proud moment. Other than that, being able to sustain a career sort of since 17, just proud of that really more than anything. So when I'm not at ACM, things that keep me busy are a 3.5-year-old. I have a 3.5-year-old daughter. She keeps me very busy, training for the marathon, for a charity. I do a lot of stuff that's non-drumming, as much stuff, and I say that to students the whole time. Setting aside time to be away from your instrument is really important. So for me, yeah, running, being with family, I enjoy a lot of good food, lots of good wine, and that's about it really. My all-time favourite groove. Anything by Ricky Lawson, I'd say. That doesn't really answer, but anything by Ricky Lawson, just because he is a producer drummer. I like producer drummers, so anything by Ricky Lawson, anything by Questlove, Steve Jordan, any of those particular drummers. Key grooves, David Garibaldi again, any David Garibaldi groove for Tower of Power. Those are my favourite types of grooves. I've got too many. Obviously Chucky's in Love, things like that. The classic Steve Gadd, 50 Ways. My approach to laying down a groove for a new track is a lot of the time, if I'm working with producers, they tell me what they want. So I'm going to be political about that. A lot of the stuff I work in, I'm told specifically the sound that's required. So it's already pre-written or it's already been directed to me. And that's quite tricky because occasionally when I get into situations and it's about my own identity, that's where I'm not predominantly a recording drummer. So if I referred to players, UK players, I don't know, mates like Tim Weller, Mike Smith, Ralph Salmins, those particular guys, they're kind of they're the daddies who kind of lay down the grooves and put things together. And I would say predominantly I'm a live drummer, therefore it's more about me taking direction than actually creating grooves. The parts tend to be created before I get there, so I'm interpreting what's already put down.